Hi, ch12. So this will be the last video um, for instruction. So we'll stop at this topic here, and then I'll give you some questions to work on, and then I'll give you the unit exam on Monday. So the unit exam will only go up to this point. Okay, there's a couple topics um, that remain afterwards, but I'll stop here just so that we can kind of get things to fit within the time remaining. So again, the unit exam will only go up to um, this point here. So what we want to look at is selecting preferred reactions. Basically, what this is about is when you have a variety of materials that are in physical contact of each other, um, looking at what the redox reaction is that's going to occur. So in terms of which reaction will occur, the one that is going to be the most spontaneous. Okay, so the most spontaneous basically means that you're going to have um, the the greatest cell voltage. Okay, because um, that's a reflection of how spontaneous the reaction is going to be. Okay, so let's look at this one here. You've got aluminum metal and you've got it exposed to gases of chlorine and bromine. Okay, so that means those gases are in physical contact with the aluminum metal. And so we want to figure out what the overall reaction is going to be and then also what the cell voltage is going to be. Okay, so these are the reactions that are from your table, okay, with their reduction half cell potentials. So what's going to happen here is again, in order to have a redox reaction, you have to have one reduction half reaction and one oxidation half reaction. So what's going to happen here is you have to look at which of the chlorine and bromine, when put with aluminum, is going to give you the greatest potential. Okay, and that's going to be, remember with the aluminum here, we're going to have to flip this one around so that it becomes the oxidation. And so that's going to turn that into positive 1.66 volts. And so which one of these two, when added to it, is going to give you the biggest voltage? So that'll be the chlorine. Okay, and so we've got 3 electrons here, 2 here. So we're going to multiply this one by 2 and then this one by 3. Okay, so what that's going to give you is 3Cl2 plus, so remember we're going to flip this one around, so it's going to be 2 aluminum, and that's going to give you 6Cl minus plus 2Al3 plus, and then this will be your cell voltage, right? So it's going to be 1.36 plus 1.66. Okay, and that gives you 3.02 volts. Okay, so again, what you're looking for is the scenario that gives you the greatest cell voltage, which means it's the most spontaneous, and so that'll be the preferred reaction. So basically what happens is the bromine gas just sits there. It doesn't react. The chlorine gas is attracted to the aluminum metal with a greater tendency, right? So that's the one that's going to react. Okay, let's look at another one here. We've got nickel and lead exposed to the iodine gas. Okay, so again, that's just copied from your table at the back of the book. So here's your iodine. Okay, so the iodine is going to be undergoing the reduction, and so we have to decide which of the lead or the nickel is going to become the oxidation, right? So we have to flip that one around. So so remember, when these get flipped around, their signs go opposite. So this will become positive 0.13, this will become positive 0.26, and so it'll be the nickel then that gives you the greatest cell voltage. They're at 2 electrons, so we don't need to multiply them by anything. And just a reminder, going back to this one, when we multiply the half reactions, we don't multiply the voltages. Okay, so they stay as is. The only thing that happens is when we flip around, the sign goes opposite. Okay, so this one's going to be I2 plus the nickel metal. So remember, we're going to flip that around. Going to 2 iodine plus the nickel 2 plus. Okay, and so here we get an overall cell voltage of 0.8 because that's from the 0.54 plus the 0.26. Okay, so that's what gives you the 0.80 volts. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. So the questions I want you to work on are page 238, number 47. So same idea. It basically says, here's what is available to come into contact with, which of these are going to react, and then also giving out the cell potential. Okay, so like I said, I'll stop here. I know there's a few topics that remain, but we won't have enough time to get to those, so the test will just reflect up to this last part. Some of the remaining topics, what they were looking at is the opposite of electrochemical, which is electrolytic cells. And basically what that was about is where you have two half reactions that give you a negative potential, and then in order for you to get that reaction to occur, you had to supply voltage into the system. Okay, so that means, like, suppose this reaction here was negative 0.8 volts. That means you'd have to supply more than 0.8 volts into the system in order to get these two to react. Okay, so that's what basically the last little bit had to look at, and then there's a topic on how to prevent rusting, cathodic protection it's about. So again, we won't have enough time to get through all that because then I still have to give you the test, and that's just going to push everything back. So up to this point, I've got your marks updated. I'll work on these questions to Monday, and then Monday I'll give you the take-home exam, which I'll give you a couple days to work on. And so I should have your final marks done by the end of next week. Okay, and so you can figure out. You can just ask me, and I can just figure out what you've got for the course. Just wanted to say that these have been pretty difficult, stressful times, but you guys have done really well. Out of all my classes, you guys have really been the ones who've been the most consistent, getting things done on time, asking the most questions as well, and so that's been really good. And like I said, it is a stressful time, but I think that the takeaway you can get from this is that because you guys are going to be graduating and going to post-secondary, I think in a way you're more prepared for post-secondary than you otherwise would be, right? Because you have a greater ability to basically direct your own learning, take initiative, and have that discipline where you're able to do stuff, at home when it's out of the class setting. So that takes a lot of discipline and seriousness on your part. And so feel good about that. I'm pretty confident that you'll be successful in whatever careers you choose, just because of the way I've seen you sort of conduct yourself in class and online. So I'm pretty optimistic about your guys' future. Okay, so again, send me some questions if you need any additional help, and then I'll give you the take-home exam on Monday. Okay, all right, bye.